Welcome to WeLearn. Hello students, welcome to the lecture on System Analysis and Design. After going through with today's session, you will be able to understand that what exactly the system design is. We will discuss design principles also. Structure chart will be our next topic. Modularity. Modules in modularity will be covered later. So, let's discuss that what exactly is system design. In the last session we have covered about system analysis and designing. Here in today's session we are going to cover system design first. What exactly is the system design? System design is basically the specification or construction of a technical computer-based solution for the business requirement, which is identified in the system analysis phase. Means हम वो पैरामीटर सॉर्ट आउट करते हैं जो हमने सिस्टम एनालिसिस फेज में फाइंड आउट किए हैं, उसके बेसिस पे हम जो स्पेसिफिकेशन कस्टमर के पार्ट पर गिवन होती है, दैट वी बेसिकली हाईलाइट ड्यूरिंग द सिस्टम डिजाइन जस्ट टू प्रपोज अ सॉल्यूशन फॉर द बिजनेस रिक्वायरमेंट, राइट? During designing, system analysts convert the description of the recommended alternatives solution into the logical one, and then physical system specification is started. Sometimes lots of meetings, on-site observation and other fact-finding techniques are used by the system analyst, जिनको use करके वो बहुत सारे alternatives in terms of solution निकालते हैं उन प्रॉब्लम्स का जो कि रेज होती है ड्यूरिंग सिस्टम डिजाइनिंग में, एंड देन एज पर द लॉजिकल डिजाइन फिजिकल सिस्टम स्पेसिफिकेशन इज प्रिपेयर्ड. एनी क्वेश्चन सो फार? डिजाइन प्रिंसिपल्स बेसिकली involves the use of development of the system. There are certain principles that can be used for the development of the system, and these principles are प्रॉब्लम पार्टीशनिंग. इसको हम ऐसे समझते हैं, पार्टीशन द प्रॉब्लम फर्स्ट. जब भी डिजाइन प्रिंसिपल्स फॉलो करने हैं, आप सबसे पहले प्रॉब्लम्स को आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे. देन एज पर द डिजाइनिंग प्रिंसिपल यू शुड डिवाइड द प्रॉब्लम इनटू द डिफरेंट डिविजिबल पीसेस सो दैट अल्टीमेटली द अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम कैन बी रिजॉल्व्ड. नेक्स्ट इज एब्स्ट्रैक्शन. थर्ड वन इज design principles also recommend top-down design as well as bottom-up design. Next topic is structure chart. What exactly is structure chart? So basically a structure chart depicts the modular organization of an information system. The organization is hierarchical. किस तरह से hierarchical way में हम एक information system को build up करेंगे, इसका एक कलेक्टिव व्यू रिप्रेजेंट होता है आपका स्ट्रक्चर चार्ट में. स्ट्रक्चर चार्ट ग्राफिकली शोज द वे कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ ए प्रोग्राम और अ सिस्टम आर रिलेटेड. द स्ट्रक्चर चार्ट डिपिक्ट्स वेरियस मॉड्यूल्स अक्रॉस डिफरेंट लेवल ऑफ द हायरार्किकल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. ऑलवेज इट हैज वन कोऑर्डिनेटिंग मॉड्यूल एट द टॉप. बहुत सारे कोऑर्डिनेटिंग मॉड्यूल्स जो है स्ट्रक्चर चार्ट में कवर किए जाते हैं, जो एक हायरार्किकल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के मींस डिफरेंट लेवल को रिफ्लेक्ट करता है. इट इज वन ऑफ द कोऑर्डिनेटिंग मॉड्यूल एंड विच इज केप्ट एट द टॉप ऑफ द हायरार्की. नेक्स्ट इज मॉड्यूलरिटी. Modularity is basically a single attribute of a software that allows the program to be intellectually manageable. हम उसको ठीक से पूरे सॉफ्टवेयर को मॉड्यूल्स की टर्म्स में मैनेज कर सकें, इस चीज के लिए प्रॉपर्टी एक एट्रीब्यूट होता है सॉफ्टवेयर का, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ मॉड्यूलरिटी. मॉड्यूलरिटी इंक्रीजेस द डिजाइन क्लैरिटी बिकॉज until and unless there is no clarity at the designing part, a module cannot perform its function in a successful way. And this design clarity ultimately helps in easy implementation, testing, debugging, documentation and even the maintenance of the software also. So we highly work on this part. हम सबसे पहले डिजाइन की क्लियरिटी को इंप्लीमेंट करते हैं विद द हेल्प ऑफ मॉड्यूलरिटी. ताकि हमारे अदर काम जैसे कि डीबगिंग है, टेस्टिंग है, डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है, ये सब इजीली परफॉर्म किए जा सके. So, in a nutshell, modularity means decomposing a system into the smaller component that can be coded separately. Means when it is the responsibility of the modular or the person who is doing or applying this modularity, that divide the entire system in such a way so that when one module is working, it should not affect the functionality of another module. Right? There are different modules in the modularity. The first one is that we need to define goals of the design. Then coupling. Again, coupling is said to be the measurement of the interdependency between the different modules. There are different types of coupling. That is data coupling, stamp coupling, control coupling, common coupling, and content coupling. And cohesion. Cohesion is what basically it is again the measure of the degree of independence between the different module. Again, cohesion is of three types: procedural cohesion, temporal cohesion, logical cohesion, right? And coincidental cohesion. When we talk about the system design, as we have already covered a little bit about the system design, now in detail we are about to cover the system design, that there are two levels of process of design. Firstly, we have to prepare our logical design first. The logical design which describe the structure and characteristics of the feature like output, inputs, database and procedures. These four parameters you need to consider during the logical design of the structure. Then logical design also involves the production of a specification of the major feature of the new system which meet the system objective. So logical design in a nutshell we can say it provides you or it reflects a blueprint of the new system. System design also involves other components like output. Output is reflected in terms of reports and display. Next component is input. Input could be in the form of dialogues, screens, form, any other word you can use as an input. Now to produce output, input need to follow particular procedure. So other component of the system design involve procedure, which is the structure of the procedure to collect, transform and output the data. Next one is storage. That is the requirement for the data to be stored in the database. Definitely if you are preparing for system design, you need to firstly focus onto the database part also, because it is the storage part. And last but not the least, control, which is the requirement for the data integrity, security and procedure for the recovery. So all these components are basically give rise to the picture of system designing. Now let's talk about physical design. Physical design is basically the production of the program specification in terms of physical files or database and user interface for a selected target hardware and software. Right? These programs and files will fulfill the logical system design requirement but may be subject to some constraint and compromiser. There are certain unseen and hidden terms and conditions, or we can say constraints, that can affect the physical design. Now there are certain design objectives also. Whenever you are about to create the system design, you should keep certain objective in your mind. That design should be practical to implement. Means the system design must have a specific ability so that realistically we can design those parameters. Next is efficiency. System design should be able to reflect the efficiency in terms of implementation. And cost effective, yes, it should be cost effective. During certain point of time, if it is required to change the system design, then that system design should be capable to incorporate all the required changes. If your system design reflects such a feature, it means the flexibility feature is there in the system design. Right? Security. Last most important component or objective of the system design is security. System design should specifically implement security so that entire data can be secured. When we talk about the constraint, there are different constraints which belongs to different categories. The first one is hardware, software, budget, time scale, and interface with other systems. These are the constraints that can ultimately affect passively or actively to the system design. Now let's talk about the structure design. What exactly is structure design? It is a systematic approach to problem solving. When we follow step-by-step approach to solve a particular problem, this systematic approach is called as a structure design. It is based on to the data and logic. Obviously, if you really want to resolve a particular problem, you need the data first, and that data should be implemented in a logical way so that the problem can be resolved. Again, structure design is a top-down approach in which modules are put up in a hierarchical way, and when there is a hierarchy of the modules, then it has a specific entry point as well as exit point. A logical design is primarily concerned with the file and database together with specific interface tasks such as form and screen design. Structure design is based on data flow. Structure design partitions a program into the small independent modules. Yes, during partitioning, it is the responsibility of the programmer to take care of this thing in such a way so that each module should perform its own work in an independent way. If one module is working, it should not affect the functionality of another module. Right? They are organized in a top-down manner. Hierarchical means the modules are organized in a top-down manner. Structure design is basically used to minimize the complexity because it simplifies the whole scenario. So, whenever there is a complexity of the software or system designing, we prefer to use or resolve the same with the help of structure designing because it helps in the reduction of the complexity. Now, let's discuss what should be covered during the designing of the form. Form, as we have already covered, that it's an input medium and it plays a very important role in the data processing. It is a formal way of collecting the individual information. People read forms, write on the forms and spend many hours in handling the forms and filling the forms. So we should pay a specific attention during the designing of the form. In computer terminology, a form is identified as the data that we want to collect from different sources. It also allows us to enter data to the database. Database get data from the forms only. It displays, form helps in displaying of the data in a more presentable way. Also, it helps in reviewing of the same data in a better way. And again, if you simply want to print the data which is available into the form in a distributed way, it is also very convenient. So we have to pay specific attention during the designing of the form. Now let's discuss about the importance of form. A form provides an easy way to view the data because every form represents an individual information. So we can analyze the data in a very well way, we can view the data easily And similarly, if we are able to view and analyze the data, we can take on the decision on the basis of that data. Using form, data can be entered easily. Yes, it is true. Suppose you have fill up exam form. Exam form is being filled up by each and every student. And when the data entry operator will make the entry of the exam forms, then it will be very convenient for him or her to input the data into this databases, because it ultimately saves the time. Forms presents data in an attractive format. Sometimes whatever data has been input through form, we want to see them in the form of a report or in an attractive way, so that we can ultimately understand the data. So ultimately, forms presents an attractive format with special fonts and other graphical effects such as color and shading, so that the understanding is enhanced. Apart from this, forms offer the most convenient layout for entering, changing and viewing the records that are present in the database. There are certain things that we should keep in mind during the classification of the forms. And the first one is action. Either it is exam form, it's a exam admission form, or any other form. Form should reflect a call to action. That is, it requires the user to do something. Sometimes that action could be an order, that action could be in terms of instructions, that action could be as a output of the work that has been achieved in the past. And form always moves you from one place to another place, right? Memory. Again, form is also a source of historical data, because it ultimately records the historical data. Suppose you have collected your marks card at the end of the final term exam. Final exam हो जाने के बाद जो आपके हाथ में report card आते हैं, that also reflects your historical data, that what you have exactly achieved during the past. So, apart from the historical data, and form also reflects a source of file also. Data is generally used for reference from the form. Sometimes as an inventory record, we need to capture some sort of links of the data. So in that particular situation, we prefer to use the form as a source of reference. Form also serve as a guide to the supervisors in their activity. Summary picture of a project, that is a balance sheet. It helps the supervisor in guiding that what has been credited, what has been debited, and many more things like that. Report, which has been captured through the forms, ultimately clears the picture, enhances the understanding, and ultimately helps in decision making. So for example, in sales, we have to find out that, what will be the production of Limca bottles in 2016. So for the decision making of this thing, we will capture the data from 2010 till date, and then we will be able to analyze the pattern, and as per the sales analysis, we will be able to take on decision that what exactly will be the number of bottles of production of Limca in the year 2016. Right? Any questions so far? Now, let's discuss some requirement for the form designing. Means what we should keep kept in our mind during the designing of the form. The first one is identification wording. Because forms reflects you a certain sort of instructions, order, request, and many more things like that. So whatever wording you are about to use in the form, it should invoke a call to action for the reader. Form size is again a prerequisite in terms of arrangement of the papers. Order of the data should be kept in mind while designing the form. Again, use of instruction at proper place is also one of the most important, or we can say mandatory parameter during the form design that we should kept in our mind. Whatever is the form, you should consider this point also, that this form will be used at different levels of the people. So it should also support the ease of data entry point. If the form is not easy to input, it will create further issues. And the type of report that you are looking for out of the form design, that is also the part of requirement of the form design. Now let's discuss what is the criteria for form design. Your form should be organized properly in terms of parameter, in terms of paper setting, margin, alignment, orientation, and many more things like this. And form should also be consistent in all aspects. It should reflect the accuracy in terms of the data required by a particular user, and in terms of instructions, orders, and simplicity. As we have already covered that form is a source of inputting data. So whatever information you are capturing through the form, it should ask complete information, right? Flexible entry should be supported during the form designing, and again, form should be economically affordable. Cheap and best, this should be your approach during the criteria of form designing. Now let's discuss what is decision table. As the name suggests, decision table is a table of decisions. In simple words, we can say that it is a tool in the hands of the system analyst which helps him to take on some useful decision at a certain point of time during the analysis and during the entire system development life cycle. Right? So a decision table is a table of rows and column that shows conditions and actions. Decision rules included a decision table state what procedures to follow when certain conditions exist. कौन सी कंडीशन में क्या एक्शन परफॉर्म करना है, इसका एक ग्राफिकल और टैबुलर फॉर्मेट में रिप्रेजेंटेशन क्या कहलाता है आपका डिसीजन टेबल. तो एंटायर डिसीजन टेबल को हम 4 सेक्शंस में डिवाइड करते हैं. द फर्स्ट वन इज कंडीशन स्टब, कंडीशन एंट्रीज, एक्शन स्टब एंड एक्शन एंट्रीज. जैसे इफ एल्स की कंडीशन होती है, इफ देयर विल बी रेन आई विल नॉट गो टू द ऑफिस और आई विल नॉट गो टू स्कूल. If you will not go to school, then what action you are about to cover? So इस टाइप का हम एक क्राइटेरिया सेट कर देते हैं डिसीजन टेबल में. If certain terms and condition will happen, then what corresponding action should be carried out in this respect. There are different types of decision table. Certain decision tables are of limited entry form. Some other can be extended as per the requirement. Some decision table could be supported with mixed entry form, and some supports only else part, that if this and this condition is not met, then what corresponding action will be taken up. Like decision table, there is a decision tree. Again, this is a tool in the hands of the system analyst to reflect decision variables. So decision trees are basically the presentation of the decision variables that are graphics and sequentially, showing which condition to consider first, which second, and so on. A decision tree is a diagram basically which represents the condition and corresponding actions in order. The root is on the left that you have to consider first. So with this, we are about to finish this session and we are moving towards another session of the system analysis and designing. That is, we are about to cover the importance of forms, importance of reports, types of information. It could be internal, external and turnaround information. Let's discuss the importance of forms. Till date and time we have covered that what exactly is form, what specific mindset you should kept before designing of the form, what is the purpose of creating form, what should not be the part of a form, like this, that we have covered in our previous session. Here we are discussing about the importance of forms and reports. Because forms and reports, they basically deals with the interface of the software with the user. So, forms plays a very important role in the entire scenario. A form provides an easy way to view the data. Using forms, data can be entered easily. Yes, it is true. It becomes easy to manage the data in terms of forms. Forms present data in an attractive format. Forms offer the most convenient layout for entering, changing and viewing records that are present in the database. Right? Here comes reports. What exactly is reports? Let's focus on this part first. Reports basically reflects the summarized or concluded actions, or we can say conclusion of the entire work that has been done. So reports also plays a very important role because it helps in organizing and presenting the data in a group, because it reflects the summarized and concluded data. So data can be easily organized and presented in terms of reports. We can calculate running totals, group totals, grand total and even the percentage of the totals through reports. Within the body of the report, we can include subforms, sub-reports and even graph also, because these graphs helps in better understanding of the data and which ultimately helps in decision making. And if the decision is correct, the action will automatically be correct. Any questions so far? Next, we can present data in an attractive format with pictures, special fonts and lines. Right? We can create design for a report. Whatever in whatever attractive format you want that your data should be reflected, that can be done with the help of designing of report, so that we can use it over and over again in the near future. Now let's discuss the types of information. There could be internal information. So information, we can say it is partitioned into three types of information. Not partition, rather we must say categorized. Any sort of information is categorized into three major categories. The first one is internal information, second one is external information, next one is turnaround information. When we talk about the internal information means the information within the organization. External information means information outside the organization, and turnaround information is that information which comes after processing of the information. Suppose the moment you submit the input and it submitted or inputted data undergoes processing, and whatever comes out, it becomes your turnaround information, right? Or we can say resultant information. In the later part of this system analysis and designing, we are about to cover inputs to physical design and file organization, right? Ultimately, the physical files reflects a repository of the data, and you know it very well. The smallest unit of any data is bits. Many bits combined together into bytes. Bytes ultimately combine together to form fields, or we can say columns. Many columns combine together to make a record. Many records combine together to make a file. Many files of the same work are collectively stored in a database. Similarly, so we can say that once the logical design has been finalized in consultation with the users, the details of the physical design of the system can be started. Physical database design involves actual implementation of the logical database in the DBMS. So there are different types of physical files: master file, transaction file, archive file, audit file, and work file. Master file is basically that file in which we basically kept all those data whose changing frequency is too minimum or too less, or sometimes it is negligible. Master data also reflects the original data. In master data we never make changes. Transaction file: all the temporary data of any organization is kept under the transaction file. And whatever data is inside the transaction file, it has a tendency to change very frequently. Archive file, you know it very well. These are the special files that are created for saving the files and using it in the near future. The file which is specifically created for the audit purpose, so that we can analyze the entire process of the organization in a standardized way. Work file is that file that we use during our operational activities. Next comes file organization. The first one is serial file organization, sequential file organization, index sequential file organization, and the last one is hash file organization. When we talk about the organization of the file, so every file is organized in terms of tracks, sector, cylinder, blocks, right? In the later part of this system analysis and designing, we will cover following topics like case tools, use of case tools, different types of case tools, classification of case tool will be our next topic, and at last but not the least, the most important terms which is popularly asked during the system analysis and designing is reverse and forward engineering. Case tools. As you are aware of that, SDLC has 7 important phases like requirement analysis, feasibility study, designing, coding, testing, implementation, maintenance. So all these things till date and time we used to do, or we prefer to do manually. But it will take lots of time, because whatever is the work done through manually, it takes time. So case tool is a kind of revolutionary tool in the hands of the software engineer. By making use of these tools, all the processes of SDLC, not all, we can say most of the process of the SDLC is done in an automatic way, or we can say with the help of computers technology. So the normal SDLC process is often seen as inflexible and time consuming and even expensive also, because wherever the manual effort is more, cost is automatically more. Keeping in view of these limitations, CASE came into the existence. CASE tool stands for Computer Aided Software Engineering Tools. This uses various CASE tools to perform and automate many activities of the SDLC. So we can say that CASE tools ultimately helps in optimizing the various activities of the system development lifecycle. All the software that help in the process of software engineering can be termed as case tool. आप समझ रहे हैं इस बात को? सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलप करते समय हम जितने भी प्रोसेसेस यूज करते हैं जो अभी तक नॉर्मली मैनुअली करते थे, अब हम उनकी जगह कंप्यूटर एडेड सॉफ्टवेयर टूल्स यूज करते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल प्लानिंग के लिए ईआरपी सॉफ्टवेयर हो गया, अकाउंटेंसी के वर्क के लिए वी प्रेफर टैली सॉफ्टवेयर, डेटाबेस मैनुअली ना बना के एमएस एक्सेस, ओरेकल, माईसीक्वल के थ्रू करते हैं, राइट. डिजाइनिंग के लिए विजुअल सॉफ्टवेयर यूज करते हैं, चाहे वो आपका डीएफडी है, ईआर डायग्राम है, फ्लो चार्ट है, प्रोसेस लॉजिक है. इन सब के लिए हम क्या यूज कर रहे हैं? सॉफ्टवेयर और टेक्नोलॉजी. सो ऑल द टूल्स एंड प्रोसेसेस दैट आर यूज इन द सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग आर कलेक्टिवली टर्म्ड एज केस टूल्स. यूज ऑफ केस टूल बेसिकली फैसिलिटेट सिंगल डिजाइन मेथोडोलॉजी. जब हम केस टूल्स को यूज करते हैं देन वी गिव बर्थ टू अ सिंगल design methodology. Again, when the software engineer is dependent or rely on automatic tool, then there is a rapid application development because time is consuming too less. Again, for doing the testing, we are making use of different softwares which helps in not only creating the test plan in a very speedy and efficient way. Test cases are also created in a very efficient way, and by slightly modifying the testing cases and test design, we can have a new version of the test case or test design. So it ultimately reduces the manual effort that we previously used to do. So ultimately case tools helps in the reduction of the cost because productivity at each level is increasing in a radiant way. There are different types of case tools. Some case tools belongs to planning and management tool category. Case tools also involves the tools which helps in analysis. That's why called analysis tool. Designing tool set, code generators, database design tool set, and at last report generators. All these tools helps in different point of time for different tasks of the system development life cycle. It has relaxed the life of software engineer, system analyst, designer, coder, tester, and all the person who are directly or indirectly involved in the work in the software engineering, right? Any questions so far? Further classification of case tool involves that how we can classify case tool on the basis of their utilization. So the first category is development tool, second is front end tool, third is back end tool, fourth one is horizontal tools. So development tools is basically used for the designing, supporting and code generation. Front-end tools are those tools which support the activities early in the life cycle of the software development. For example, DFD, ER diagram, prototyping tools like this. Back-end tools, it support activities later in the life cycle of the software development process. For example, flowchart, code generation, etc. इन सब के लिए हम किसको यूज करते हैं? बैक एंड टूल को. हॉरिजॉन्टल टूल्स, द एग्जांपल ऑफ हॉरिजॉन्टल टूल इज डॉक्यूमेंटेशन टूल्स. ऑल द टूल्स विच हेल्प इन द प्रॉपर डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, अट्रैक्टिव presentation, they comes under the horizontal tools. The most important and popularly used term in the system analysis and designing is reverse engineering. What exactly is reverse engineering? So reverse engineering is a process of recreation of the model based on the existing code. क्योंकि हम इसमें existing code को reuse कर रहे हैं और we can say recreate कर रहे हैं. So reusability is implemented in the reverse engineering. First of all, you should understand this concept. First, the existing code is scanned to generate the model. Then the model can be fine-tuned as per the requirement or as per the current requirement. हम उसने पार्ट को रीयूज कर पाते हैं जो हमारी करंट रिक्वायरमेंट को फुलफिल कर सके और उसी के हिसाब से हम अपने सॉफ्टवेयर को कस्टमाइज कर पाते हैं. सो रिक्रिएशन प्रोसेस by applying reusability comes under the reverse engineering. The last topic of today's class is forward engineering. It is the process of generation of the skeleton code out of the models. First step is to create the model for a system and then generate the relevant code. पहले हम उसका एक मॉडल प्रिपेयर करते हैं which is near to the requirement of the customer and then उसके अकॉर्डिंग हम एक relevant code जनरेट करते हैं so that modification can be done. So forward engineering is basically the process of generation of the skeleton code out of the models. First step is to create the model for a system, then generate the relevant code for the model and then allow the modification for this code. Dear student, is there any question so far? With this we are about to finish this session. We will meet with another session with more energy levels. Thank you.